Hey guys, it's Morgan coming back to you with another weekly Shlog. Sorry that we missed a week, but between getting ready for and going racing in Oklahoma, I just did not have a chance to film anything. But we are back. We're going to be filming all kinds of cool stuff this week. We are starting with this 2022 Honda 450. I'll go into that here in a bit, but if you are new here, if you found us because of the whole 300XC thing, please give us a shot at our other videos. Go check out all our other videos. Also stick with us for this video. This is my little motorcycle shop in Montrose, Colorado, where we fix all kinds of dirt bikes from this to that and everything in between. We build race bikes, we do suspension, we do motors, we do everything. And yeah, this is the little shop vlog where we talk about it. If that sounds cool, stick with us. Here we go. All right, guys, so first on the lift is this 2022 CRF450 RX. I've already diagnosed it. Sorry for that, but it was last week. I was trying to get things diagnosed so I could get parts coming. I just didn't have a chance to film it. But basically, he was riding it. He killed it. He went to go restart, would not restart, had to drag it out, would not restart. Anyway, killed the battery, blah, blah, blah. I charged the battery up, got it all going. Would not start, checked, no fuel. So dug deep into it and we found out that the fuel pump had given up. So let's take a look at what's going on here and then let's fix it. All right, guys, so here is the fuel pump of the CRF. So you can see it's got some of this kind of like almost metal looking aluminum-y kind of thing, and I'm not sure exactly what that is, except for I think it might be coming from the pump itself. It could be coming from the veins of the pump itself, which has then clogged up this bag filter. So we could buy a whole pump assembly from Honda, but it's very, very expensive. So instead, we bought the All Balls rebuild kit. Now, I'm not always a huge fan of All Balls stuff, but we've had really good luck with these fuel pump kits. I think they're coming from Quantum, and they seem to be really good. So there's our pump, and then it comes with kind of a bit of a universal kit. It comes with multiple filters and things like that because I think it's made to fit a few different setups, but we're going to get the right things out and we're going to clean everything up really, really good. So take these big O-rings, save those. Those are in good shape. Nothing wrong with those. Now, to get this apart, you got these tabs. And what we're going to do is we're going to unhook these wires. Careful. Now we're going to come down here. There we go. So now pull this apart. And when you're doing anything like this, just make sure you keep everything kind of in the same order, like so you don't forget which way they go together. So set that down there. There. All right, so now got to get our filter off. It's pretty cool because that goes like that. We just turn it. There we go. So we're chucking this thing up like this. It's got little plus and minus, so plus is red, minus is black. We're not going to put that on quite yet. Correct filter. There we go. got O-ring, and it comes with, yeah, a new O-ring. So I'll go set this down out of the way. Then I'm going to take this O-ring out of here, replace it with the new one. Now I'm going to take this housing and clean it really well with some brake clean. Get all this black dust off of there. All right, feel pretty good about that. Now, okay. All right, now got everything clean. We're going to take our red wire, put it on the positive. Take the black, put it on negative. Put it up tight, there we go. And this piece, let me just show you guys this. Right here, this rubber kind of came out, so it goes down in like that. And this whole setup drops down in there. Got the new O-ring. This, excuse me, there we go. This O-ring was the one that was up in here. So now, check everything. All right, there we go, guys. Pump is rebuilt. Let's reinstall it in the tank and see if we can get this CRF to fire up. All right, guys, quick little thing. Let me show you guys real fast. So Mr. Sheets was taking apart this 450 SXF factory edition, I think, and it's blown up. Obviously, that's why the top's off. And let me see, where are those blown up parts I took pictures of? Oh, there we go. So this is an interesting mystery, but I think we may have just figured it out. So here's all the blown up stuff. Here's the cam, blown up cam lobe, or melted cam lobe. We got the rocker, melted. I'm trying to figure out why, so we looked at the plastic oil pump, gears, those are totally fine. The oil pump itself, which is also plastic, totally fine. But then Zach, he's got the head off here, and he's looking around, checking things out. And it's really hard to see, but if you look, see that hole right there? That hole is got threads cut, and it's the hole that goes down through there from, you know, to hold, bolt everything together. And, you know, anyway, well, that is some of the aluminum from them cutting those threads, and it's jammed up. And then if we look here, this is the oil jet that would spray oil onto said rocker arm, and I'm not 100% sure that there's not more stuff jammed up in there, because there's nothing, you know, we had never been in there, he had never been in there, but I have a feeling that that aluminum right there is also blocking the passage that goes to here, which then did not let enough oil get on that rocker, which caused all kinds of blowy-uppy things. So unfortunately, this thing's old enough that KTM's not going to cover it. It really sucks, but yeah, we can get that cleaned out, and it could be one of those things like it doesn't restrict it totally. There's no way it restricts it totally, otherwise it would have blown up almost immediately. My guess is it just restricts it a little bit. Come here. And that, you know, it ran okay for a while, and maybe the guy that bought it from the guy who originally bought it actually rode it really hard, got it high RPM, anyway, didn't flow enough oil, all that problem. So there we go. All right, guys, got tank on, gas in it. Let's see what happens when we hit the button. I'm just gonna bump it and see if the pump runs. Yes, the pump does run. So I think we're gonna get there. There we go. I like it. Should be good now. Yeah, I think that's all it was. The pump just gave up. It looks like it, like I said, could be the material from the vanes of the pump. I don't know exactly what all that is. Someone maybe here can explain that better. I don't know. I just know that that black material a lot of times comes from the pump. And someone, like I said, can explain that better here in the comments below exactly what that is and why it does it. But it seems to do it. Probably clogged that filter up, which then just made the pump work harder. It's probably still running after all this stuff or whatever. Made the pump work harder. Eventually the pump either overheated or just died because it just didn't have enough oomph left in it. So new pump, rebuild, all good to go. On to the next job. All right, guys, we have some more awesome blown upness. I got to show you. So we have a 2020 YZ250, right? 250F, rare motorcycle to blow up, very rare, but this one did. There's the evidence, the first bit of the evidence, and there's that. Those are the washers that go on the side of the crank to set the axial play, and they came apart. And we haven't really figured out why. Again, Yamahas don't generally do that. He said it was idling when it locked up. That doesn't mean that it wasn't held wide open right before it was idling and then locked up. Yeah, guys, we're gonna dig deeper into this thing. Make sure you stick with us here on the video because we're gonna be going deep and trying to figure out exactly why that happened. Make sure that when we rebuild it, it does not happen again. But that's crazy because maybe comment below if you've seen a YZ do that. I haven't seen a YZ have that kind of problem in a very, I don't even know, very long time. There's more of the evidence right there. Yeah, pretty awesome. Lots of blown up stuff these days in the shop. Just 'tis the season, I guess. Yeah, craziness. So the Honda is all good to go. Fuel pump in, ready to rock and roll. Everything's back on. Well, let's see. There we go. Fuel injected bikes are always a little funny. They all require a little bit different starting method. Like my new KTM, I just hit the button, I don't touch anything, let it fire up. Some bikes, it actually seems like the Yamahas, some of them like a little bit of throttle. This one doesn't like any throttle, as you just saw. But yeah, it's all ready to rock and roll. But now let me show you guys something on this 175. Now this was here before. We did fork seals and replaced some switches and things like that. But the woman, we got it back to her. Starts and runs and all that is all really good. But she noticed that the lights weren't working very well. They're kind of on, flickery. Took lots of revs to get them to get bright enough, and it wasn't like that before she crashed it. So I was like, all right, well, let's take a look. So we're digging around. It doesn't have a battery in it, but it doesn't need a battery to run. This style doesn't need it. But I did notice I pulled this up, and there we go. Super melted plug, melted wires. Those are the stator wires. Here, watch. There we go. So figured that out. So make sure, again, stick with us here. We're gonna tear that apart very soon, that harness, and fix all that up. And I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna run it, whether I'm gonna run a new plug or if I'm just gonna wire all those individually. I'll probably do them individually because I don't think I have a plug that's got that many holes in it. It's a 5 wire, 4, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But like I said, join me. We'll get that thing done here real shortly. We are going to be doing fork seals today. Yeah, that's right. 20 hours on the bike and we're doing fork seals. I've now raced it in 3 pretty stinking muddy races. One ridiculously muddy race in Espanola down in, you saw that video where I won and was super happy, but there's a ton of nasty, sandy mud involved in that. Thought I got away with it, but I got it down to Oklahoma. They started leaking. I cleaned both forks. One stopped leaking, the other one continued to leak, so forget it. We're just gonna start over. We're gonna start with fresh seals, and we'll take a look inside. So if you guys haven't watched the suspension video where I disassemble the forks and the shock and kind of show you all the kind of ins and outs of what changed, definitely check that out. This is gonna be a more of a how-to fork seal video like my other fork seal video. So anyway, gonna go yank those forks off the bike and bring them on over here. All right, guys, got the fork up here. This is the right side, and normal fork wrench, take that off. Got the bleeder out of the way. Gonna flip it over, and one thing, guys, I've noticed is that hand adjuster, while it's nice for adjusting on the trail, it is a pain in the butt for disassembling the fork. So I like to take it off. It takes a T20 Torx, and as you unscrew it, it's gonna obviously unclick. It's gonna open that circuit all the way up. That's fine. That's what we want to do anyway. Get to the end, and we just slowly, don't yank on it, because you don't want to strip that little bolt out. Make sure you don't lose that little guy. And the small pair of pliers, grab a hold of that adjuster. There we go. Now, yeah. What's that?
Well, we talked about the middle of the day, gatherers or whatever. So the first part of the it's like, well, it doesn't matter.
All right, guys, got the fork apart. I just shot a little video describing this. This is the internal part. I'm not actually going to change the oil. It's only got 20 hours on it, and honestly, it's only got 13 since we valved it. So this oil, super fresh. That's what I love about twin chamber forks, is that this oil, the damping oil, stays shiny and happy and clean, even if the other oil has a bunch of stuff in it. So, and the oil in the outside wasn't that bad. It just tore the seal when I got in the sand. So going to, like always, peel our dust seal up. Come in, the circlip, and I wish you guys could, like, it's too hard to show down inside there, but it is gritty and sandy. There we go. So there we go. You can see some of the grit built up there. All right. Because this was in the sandy nastiness, I'm going to do an even better than normal job of cleaning these bushings, because I don't want any grit on those that would get onto my fork tube and all that. Oh, there. All right, guys, so I got them out. I forgot to show you what they looked like before, but now you can see after ultrasonicing these fork lugs, they basically look brand new. There's the brake side. Turned out really, really good. So I love the ultrasonic. It's awesome. Putting these things back together is basically the same side to side, but you really want to make sure you take your time really cleaning the insides of these things. Clean the groove where the circlip goes. That tends to develop some rust because that circlip is steel, and if you're riding a bunch of wet and mud and stuff like that, that gets past the dust seal and onto that, because the circlip is on the outside of the oil seal but inside the dust seal, so it can get kind of rusty. So make sure that turns out nice and clean. I'm just gonna slide that together, and then take our fork seal driver, one of the only really special tools you definitely need, and we're gonna hear that change. That is the sound of that Driving home, now we're gonna take our seal, same thing. You can hear it change. There we go. Now we're gonna set our circlip down in there. I like to use flat blade to finish it off. Just make sure you don't push in on that oil seal. Then to set the dust seal, just boom, and there we go. Make sure everything moves nice and smooth. Now we're just gonna reassemble the parts, and it's super simple, guys. Like really very, very easy to install these things, especially since we didn't take them all the way apart. We're not having to bleed anything. Damping side, because the race of the fork. Just gonna take this, and so take a look at this. This hex fits into a hex at the bottom of the lug. So we're just gonna ease that down in there. Grab a hold of the lug, and you can reach up in there with your finger, kind of guide it, and you turn it, and you'll feel it drop in. So there we go. Take our end adjuster, start it by hand. I'm gonna flip her up. I'm putting it down on my boot so that plastic adjuster isn't on metal or concrete. 22mm socket. Still try to go as much as you can by hand. Take our impact. Just a little bit of a bump and you're good. Hey, Sheetsy Poo. Sheetsy Poo! So, how much oil on the outside of these things? 240. All right. All right, so we're gonna put 240 cc's of KYB 01M, which is their high performance 5 weight. There we go. Now we're gonna tighten the fork cap back down and we're all good to go. Reinstall the bleeder. And the only reason I take the bleeder out on these guys is to protect it from getting messed up moving the thing around. Since I didn't take apart the inner chamber and clean that all up, I didn't have to use the tool anyway. It wasn't in the way, but it definitely could have gotten bumped or hit or whatever. So I left it. Just take it out, makes it easy. Gonna reinstall our adjuster. And now when we install it, it's going to click it all the way closed, which is what we want, because then we're gonna set our clickers from all the way closed to out. Now we're gonna make sure everything's nice and clean everywhere and reinstalling the bike. Super simple, guys. Fork seal changes are no different from every other KTM for the last, whatever, since they went to 48mm forks. So there you go. I hope that was informative. All right, guys, let's dig into this DT and see if we can't fix this wiring. Like I showed you before, it's all sorts of melted. So I don't think we are gonna be able to save any of like the plug or any of that. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna chop these wires. Fortunately, they're all color coded. And what we'll do, let me show you guys here in 1 second. What I'm gonna do, so you can see this is melted all the way back up to here. So I'm just gonna cut it right there, down here. I mean, there's one more plug. We can just unplug that, I think, or open up the loom here, slice that back, and then we're going to add wire coming this way. I'm going to add pieces of wire to each one of them. And no, they won't be the right colors. Like I don't have all these, you know, tracer colors or whatever. I could get that and it'd be really cool to make it all period, but this thing is actually not really truly restored all that originally. So this will be all right. And then we will put some connectors, some single connectors on them and put them all together. So, all right, so then we got our connectors here. All right, so these are super, super cool little connectors. You just, I'll show you on this one. So you just slide your wire in, then come down here, slide the other wire in.
That trail mission tire came out backwards. Is that coming too?
Yeah. Then you just take your crack torch, and heat them up, and it's got solder in it. So it heat shrinks and solders the wires at the same time. And you do still have to crimp them this style. They do make these with solder in them, but I'm out. They're really cool though. But these ones work great because the heat shrink has some glue in them. So once it's on there, it's really stuck on the wire. It's really good. A little bit, I'm gonna fire this thing up and hopefully all the lights are nice and bright. All right, here we go. Should start. It's always done that, but hopefully. There we go. All right, guys, so still pretty dim, but I think it needs a battery if it's really gonna work. So we have a battery coming. We got those wires fixed, so we should be good that way. I should have a battery here very soon, so make sure you stick around here on the channel. We're about done with this week's Shlog, yeah, stick around. We'll get the battery in there and show you what it looks like when we get everything just right. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me for this week's Shlog. Sorry I didn't film the normal outro because I was trying to get out of here to go racing. I also want to say sorry for my delinquency in Shlogs in general over the last few weeks. It's been out of hand. I missed a few. We've been racing like crazy. There's 2 weekends of racing in a row. So anyway, we're back to a normal schedule. It's winter time, so things are slowing down here. If you guys need any work done, let us know. We can get it right on it because again, it's getting cold outside. Things are slowing down. We can get right on your stuff. We're stoked to be trying to get more people putting TBT suspension on their bike because I think we can make you ride better. I just had the best season of my life. I ended up 9th overall at 47 years old for the WeBe series. I feel really good about that. That's not normal for me. I'm older than I've ever been, and that's the best results I've ever had. So I attribute a lot of that to my suspension on my bikes, both the 125, my 300, my old XCW 300, and of course the brand new 300. So anyway, guys, I love you. I hope you get out, spread the gospel of 2 wheels, and I desperately hope that what we're doing here is inspiring you guys to work on, but more importantly, get out and ride your dirt bikes.